Welcome back, my fellow Pokemon cultists. Boy, am I excited to get back in some gameplay with y'all. If you come back for some more content, then you definitely got my secret message to join my cult and learn the history of Pokemon Insurgence through my gameplay. Of course, it's Reyu, back at it again with part 2 to this amazing game. For any new viewers, you should know that Pokemon Insurgence is a fan-made Pokemon game. It ends up telling the story with a darker twist, drawing heavily from darker themes like cults, mad science gone wrong, and of course true villainy that makes even Getsis from Gen 5 look tame. The more we dive into this game, the further you'll see just how non-PG a Pokemon game can actually get. And yes, when I say dive further, I am hoping to get a consistent video schedule out as I record new gameplay. I was very excited to post my first video and hear all the wonderful feedback from friends and commenters alike, which is why I took the holidays as a chance to really plan out these videos and give you guys a better viewing experience. Thanks again for all the support, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get back into the video. With that being said, into a bit of my basic grinding, I have to take a serious pause as early as Route 1 to decide what kind of strategy and team I'll have. I did ultimately decide to play the hard version of this fan game. Out of all the mons I have in my party right now, Eevee is going to be the only permanent one in the future. I decided to add a fun twist on my second hard run and use the Eevee they give in the beginning as a starter Pokemon. That may not seem too bad since Eevee has a motley of evolutions to choose from. Others may think it could be one of the most difficult choices in the game to decide how you're going to use that Eevee and what evolution fits best for it. Insurgence actually adds something new in the game that makes a decision for us. Unfortunately, I won't have access to it until later on in the series, so Eevee will be around for just level grinding. For now, we'll be destroying that B button and banning evolution. That being said, the level grind in the new route is as basic as any other mainline game. Step 1, battle the trainer for some easy money and hefty XP. Step 2, use this time to check out the new Pokemon on the route and see what can help us with the next big fight. Step 3, with any new game or ROM hack, you always want to explore and talk. Never know what kind of useful items you can find to make this already difficult game easier. It's right around here that I go to a very favorite spot of mine that shows up early in the game. A perfect example of what it means to explore and talk to people, as seen by me nearly missing a free Great Ball, the audacity of someone such as myself. Right around here is actually where I take the chance to get a few choice picks that I can possibly add in my team. One of which later on that really helps me out so much, and you'll never expect who it's going to be. Right away, most people actually think it's going to be the Abra, but funny enough, it's actually the Zubat here that I pick up that's going to be a really big dominator for my team. Yes, Zubat. Besides the non-stop memes, of course, that came out about Zubat being a pest in caves, he's actually pretty useful in a game where you're level capped. For one, he has an early evolution, which he accesses as early as level 22. And if you're actually caring enough for the Zubat, he's going to immediately get into a Crobat, because Crobat, all it is dependent on friendship, and that's just keeping your Pokemon alive and training it really well. Now, it's thanks to this area that I'm actually taking advantage of training the Zubat properly. It kind of has a free access to the Nurse Joy here that you can constantly go back and forth to when you're just grinding Pokemon, as well as little neat areas like this hidden grotto that this person introduced earlier. This is actually an in-game mechanic that Pokemon Insurgence added that allows you to get secret items and even secret Pokemon you wouldn't normally find in the route. Speaking of secret Pokemon, I'm going to keep saying it, guys, always want to talk to people around here because there's actually a little hiker guy here that'll give you access to a pretty interesting Pokemon and introduce the whole Delta mechanic in this game. Now, right now, I can't do anything with it yet, but you can actually get it early if you pay attention to what kind of Pokemon he wants. This is Delta Dwebble, which is a fairy normal type that evolves into Delta Crustle. And if y'all know Crustle like I do, you can do some crazy stuff with the Shell Smash mechanics and just completely obliterate a Pokemon, especially since Fairy type is such a strong typing in all games. Depending on how the rest of this game goes, I might have to come back for him, but for now we're just going to continue on to the next town. And wouldn't you know it, here we are a few steps away, just right into the next town. A little triumphant entrance as we go into Midna Town. Now, like any other new town we go into, we do the typical run around, go to people's houses, invade their homes, see what free stuff we can get, as well as see what other trades some trainers might want to give away. And this is actually where we pick up a free Elekid, which to some people is a really good electric type early in the game. Speaking of electric types, we're actually going to be taking a look at this new mechanic in the game now, which is the Pika Taxi. This is essentially the HM Fly of the game. It costs 500 to use at first, but after you spam it a couple times, that 500 becomes free as you get a VIP pass. And I really do say you want to get this thing early on in the game because there's going to be an interesting mechanic that involves the Pika Taxi later on. So use it while you can, especially if you need to go back and grind some early routes or get some items you weren't able to get before, or like that trade before like I mentioned with the Dwebble. Always remember good useful tips like that. As for where we are right now, we're in the Midna Mine where of course I do the usual, see what trainers are in here, pick up any useful Pokemon I might find along the way, and dive further deep into the story. We talked to a trainer earlier that said that there's a person in here that's deeper in the mine. They're both part of the local Pokemon school that's here, and in order to progress the story, there's actually a tournament going on in the Pokemon school, and every student has to be there to participate and battle. She's actually the top student at the school, and this is where we start to get a first look into who our rival is. Our real rival, not the guy from earlier, Damon. You guys remember him, right? No, this is our real rival, Nora. And you can already see her, she's probably going to be much of a nuisance later because she's casually popping out of Celebi. She's actually one of the trainers in this game that's similar to you, that how you have a Mew and mythical Pokemon. She also possesses a mythical Pokemon that could do things like turn back time, since Celebi is a time traveler. This is where Nora actually gets nervous because we found out about her secret, and then she figures out we have a Mew. Could it be? You were chosen by Mew? I thought I was the only one. But if you were also chosen, then I should probably explain. Not many people know about it, but a long time ago there's a prophecy written about Tauren. Nobody knows it word for word, but it talks about the Colts and the Augur. It said that a trainer chosen by one of the legendary Pokemon will be the one to find and defeat the Colts. It also said that the legendary would be an illusory one, like Mew, Victini, and Hoopa. When they found out, the Colts wanted to rid the world of that trainer. People were terrified, nobody knew who this hero was, and they feared he or she might never appear. But then the first Augur came and protected us. He was incredible. He took out half the Colts on his own, but he disappeared a year ago. People think the prophecy was about him because he was friends with Hoopa, a legendary Pokemon. But he's gone now. Nobody knows where he is. The second Augur has taken his place, and I don't think he was chosen by anyone. That's why I can't let anyone know about Celebi. I'm afraid they've all come after me. I have to train down here in secret. I don't think I am the hero of the prophecy, but if Mew chose you, then the prophecy could be about either of us. There might even be others. You can't let anyone know that Mew chose you. It hasn't joined your team yet, has it? That's probably why it's concerned that if it does, you might become a target. So be careful from now on. We're too valuable risks. I better get going up in Midnight Town. There's a trainer school I learned from. None of the other students are any challenge for me, but it's still good practice. There's a tournament about to start soon, so I need to get going. Why don't you enter too? It's a good way to train and learn more about being a trainer. And you and I, we need all the training we can get. I'll see you up there. From there, I actually took the chance to kind of read her dialogue a bit and show you what's going on. Basically, there's a prophecy of heroes, and it involves us having a mythical Pokemon like a Mew or a Celebi. The whole thing here is that the Colts actually want to take these Pokemon from us and use them for whatever dastardly deeds they need them for. For now, though, Mew doesn't trust me enough to join my team, unlike her Celebi, who has already joined her team, which is why we have to further progress in the story to even get anywhere in this game. And what better way do we know of training and growing than going to beat up some children in a school tournament? Now, of course, it's fair, guys. I'm a child too in this game. Can't get mad at me for that. Now, what you can get mad at me for is my overconfidence and wasting time on this tournament. After beating this game on hard once before, I came in a little too cocky and decided to use a self-placed handicap on myself and use 3 Pokemon Max like my rivals do. Now, normally I can use up to 6 in this tournament, but was confident in the team variety I had after studying up on Damien and Nora's team. How foolish I was to do so, because as you'll clearly see, my ego gets immediately shot down, as I don't even make it to the finals. Of course, the very first match with the Ninja Boy proved no trouble whatsoever, because this is when I really started noticing how Zubat is going to be an essential player in this game. That being said, though, he doesn't really have much long in the spotlight, because you'll clearly see here how everything is just getting absolutely destroyed by just a Corphish alone. And I already know the reason this Corphish is even doing so much damage this early in the game is because he already has competitive natures and abilities. What I mean by that, of course, is that he's actually set up as a competitive viable Pokemon with proper nature, proper EV training, and of course, all kinds of abilities that can help them in the game. Corphish has an ability called Adaptability, funny enough. That means his stab moves, which is the same type attack bonus, do extra damage, and that's very useful for Pokemon with 2 types. Right now, he's just a Corphish, which is a water type, so all his water type moves will do increased damage. But if he was water dark when he evolves into Crawdont, that means all his water type and his dark type moves do even more damage than they normally would. Of course, even with all this knowledge that I had already and having to play this game before, I have to take a long, hard look at myself again and say, you know what, you're not that guy yet. Not yet, though. Which is why I go back to the grind and get ready for more impossible challenges, as I don't even face Nora yet, and that was just a defeat of Damien. For this next part specifically, I kind of want to give a shout out to the Pikachu fans here, as I forgot to check one house in Midnight Town that had a lady giving away free evolution stones for Eevee. Like I said before though, we're banning evolutions and instead using the stone to evolve Pikachu into Raichu. Not only does this bring me great delight in having a strong evolved Pokemon already, this just proves my point on the Pikachu hate. Pikachu is just another pretty face to look at. Raichu is the real hero here. Any viewers who wish to argue this point, feel free to do so in the comments. Otherwise, join the club, or the cult, while you can. Barring the Pikachu hate for now though, as you can see, it actually is making a big difference just to have stronger Pokemon on my team, as well as having a full team of 6. Now the thing is though, is that I do have a few underlevel Pokemon from the level cap. That's mostly because at this point in the game, it is still harder to grind these certain levels since the wild Pokemon actually aren't that strong. But what's good about this game though, like I mentioned before, is that it actually has some good mechanics later on that can help quality of life to really level up these Pokemon a lot faster. Yapping aside though, as you can see, I've actually already made it to Nora in the finals, and funny enough, it's actually going very smoothly. I know I mentioned how Nora's going to be a very prominent rival, but I actually didn't mean right now. What I mean is later on in the game when her team actually has more advancement in it. As you can already see, she has two prominent figures that could really make a difference. One being Trapinch, who evolves into Flygon, which is Dragon Ground type, and also Honedge, which is very annoying as a Steel Ghost type, as any Steel type is really strong in any game. And with the Trainer School tournament finally at its end, we managed to grasp the victory from the first challenging part of the game. Keep in mind this is just a small setup to the real challenges that we will face ahead. The gym leaders alone will have similar teams and setups that complement their team as well. Our only hope at this point is the knowledge I've gathered playing this difficulty before, and use it to once again triumph. That being said, I'm glad of course you guys chose to join me along this journey, and will greatly appreciate the support further on for more videos. If you guys like what you see so far, then go ahead and give this game a download whenever you can. The creators worked really hard on this, and it shows that they know exactly what the fans like. If you were to play this game though, comment below what starter you would pick from video 1. You gonna join the Eevee train and see what he can really do like I am, or go for the equally cool and crazy Delta Pokemon the game has set up for you like the Ghost Dragon Charmander starter? Whatever you decide, definitely make the decision to like, comment, and subscribe for more Insurgence gameplay. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next video for the first gym challenge to finally conquer.